What is happening, everybody? Andrew here from IDB, and we've got Apple's new Thunderbolt 3 cable. This was kind of quietly released on the down low when Apple released the new iMac Pro. There's a few minor accessories that kind of got launched, this being one of them. So we're going to take a look at the cable, what it is capable of, why it is a pretty fantastic Thunderbolt cable, and how it stacks up to the competition. Pretty much one of the biggest names as far as the Thunderbolt cables have gone, which is CalDigit. We've looked at their stuff. We got a few of their cables, so we're going to kind of compare them and see how this compares and see which cable you should pick up if you do need a Thunderbolt 3 cable. Needless to say, this is clearly aimed at pro users, whether on the MacBook Pro or the new iMac Pro. Thunderbolt 3 is pretty much the way to connect many different things, whether it's your monitor, storage, hubs, docks, anything like that, can all be handled through Thunderbolt 3. However, there's a lot of differences in Thunderbolt 3 cables between how much power they can handle, how much data they can transfer. All of that depends on different specs that they use and how long the cable is. This is a 0.8 meter cable, which is one of the longer ones that includes backward compatibility. So this 0.8 meter cable is allowed to support Thunderbolt 3 with data speeds up to 40 gigabits per second. It has USB 3.1 Generation 2 data transfer, which is up to 10 gigabits per second, and DisplayPort video out. Not only that, for MacBook Pro users, it can also handle charging up to 100 watts of power. Now, that is pretty stellar because if you compare it to CalDigit cables, we've got the USB-C cable, their shorter Thunderbolt 3 cable, and their longer Thunderbolt 3 cable. Now, what happens is the longer the cable gets, the harder it is to handle all that kind of backward compatibility. So CalDigit is able to make much longer Thunderbolt cables, but they lose support for USB 3 in the process. It's also really hard to tell them apart, so the USB-C cable looks slightly different, it's a little bit smaller, and doesn't have the Thunderbolt 3 logo on the back. But what about these two cables? They look pretty much identical other than length. And in fact they are. Both of these cables are Thunderbolt 3 compatible, but neither of them support USB 3.1 or USB 3.0, but they do support USB 2.0. So if you plug these in, if it's not Thunderbolt 3, you're going to be stuck back with USB 2.0 speeds. That's really, really slow if you're not using Thunderbolt 3. But Apple's cable is able to be a little bit longer. So it's longer than CalDigit's shortest cable, which is a 0.5 meter cable. They're able to stretch it out to 0.8 meters in length and still support USB 3.0. So if you were looking for an all-around cable that's going to support pretty much everything and you want the longest length right now, that is Apple's Thunderbolt 3 cable. If you just want length and you don't care about backwards compatibility, definitely check out the CalDigit cables. And we put links for all of this down below in the description, and let me know any questions you've got in the comments. Till next time, it's Andrew for IDB.